The unique thing about the Link Nature Check report is that it's not a measure of where nature is, but it's a measure of how government is doing against its own commitments.
It would be too easy to wait for 5 years, and it would also be too late to come to a conclusion at the end of each government's term about what's been done. What we need to be doing is exactly what this report has done, which is learn from the successes, identify the problems, and try and push progress forward every year.
It's really good to see the environmental movement working together to cover all the areas of sustainable development.
It's very comprehensive. There are 70 to 80 contributions from experts right across the conservation field, and I think it's a really good audit of where the government stands on its green commitments.
There's a lot of good things that have happened, but for a government that was going to come in as the greenest government ever, I think it's been a bit of a letdown, without any doubt. There's not been the momentum or the drive or the vision that I would have expected from a government that announced that, and that's what worries me. They're not taking notice of scientific evidence, the experts around them, they're not listening.
It's a disappointment to see the area around Greenbelt being upgraded from an orange to a red this year.
We'd like to see in future government stronger commitment to our walking infrastructure, which is so good for people, particularly in terms of health.
The call for an ecologically coherent network of marine conservation zones and MPAs, marine protected areas around the UK, has been one that the government has made a commitment to year upon year. But what we're seeing is complete failure to actually act upon that commitment. Constantly we're getting delays, and all we've seen out of the 127 zones that were originally proposed is 31. We're not likely to even get that, and the government is really just not committing to actually saying what it wants to see, what its vision is.
Shifting some of the agriculture subsidy money into the rural development schemes, which are the important schemes, the largest conservation pot in the country that pays for land managers to do good things for the environment. The government's facing a decision in a matter of weeks about how well to fund those schemes, how much money to move from the subsidy budget to the agri-environment budget. That alone would be a brilliant and huge step forward.
A sustainable, rich, vibrant forest landscape in England and right across the UK. To do that, we need a strong forestry commission, we need strong grants, we need better protection.
It isn't just about saving species at all, it's about the balance of the whole natural environment. It's about air quality, it's about water quality, it's about food production. All of these things depend on an extremely balanced biodiversity across the nation.
A survey for this report that showed that 9 out of 10 of us, 9 out of 10 people out there want the environment to be protected and enhanced and left in a better state for the next generation. More than half, 60% of our wildlife species are in decline. 10% of them are heading for extinction. So there's both the mandate and the need for government to do more for nature.
It's based on good, sound understanding of all of the different policy areas, and it's a report that I think the government would do well to take extremely seriously and reflect on, despite the fact that they are unhappy with some of its conclusions.
We saw a big spirited response from Lord de Morley, which was absolutely great, saying that the government does have leadership ambitions on the natural environment. Well, that's terrific, and it was really good to hear. Let's see that being put into action. Let's see a step up in the effort for the natural environment, and let's see next year's Nature Check have no reds, all greens, and some of the declining species now going up by this time next year.